Hello, and welcome to another episode where we dive deep into the latest trends and innovations. Today, we're going to explore something that's not just fascinating, but could truly be a game changer in the world of pet care. Let's talk about the future of dog food in Australia and some of the incredible innovations on the horizon for 2025. Now, I have to start by admitting that, not too long ago, I thought I had a pretty good grasp of where the dog food market was headed. After all, I've spent years analyzing trends and data, feeling quite confident in my predictions. But as it often happens, just when you think you've pieced the puzzle together, you realize there's a whole new layer you haven't even considered. This realization hit me about 6 months ago. While I was deeply involved in a project aimed at predicting future innovations in the Australian dog food market, I thought I had it all figured out until a phone call made my stomach drop. Essentially, it turned out that the very innovations I was banking on to revolutionize dog food in Australia weren't moving in the direction I expected. It was frustrating, to say the least, and it forced me to dig deeper to understand why. The Australian dog food market is truly unique and complex. Part of that complexity comes from the strict regulations set by the Australian Competition and Consumer Commission, or ACCC. They work closely with industry bodies to ensure product integrity and accurate labeling. These regulations aren't just bureaucratic red tape. They're there to protect both pets and consumers from substandard products that have caused issues in other markets globally. Another key aspect is the strong focus on local sourcing, which isn't just about patriotism, but also about ensuring quality and supporting regional economies. Then there's the undeniable rise of health-conscious consumers who demand transparency in ingredients and sustainable practices, not just for themselves, but for their pets too. This isn't just a fleeting trend. It's becoming an expectation. Australian pet owners are reading labels like they're studying for an exam, questioning everything from protein sources to preservative choices. So I thought I was on top of all this complexity until a new trend blindsided me: lab-grown meat. At first, I was skeptical. I mean, lab-grown meat for dogs? It sounded like something out of a sci-fi novel. But as I dug deeper, I realized it was more than just a passing fad. It had the potential to be the biggest disruption in the pet food industry since premium kibble was introduced. Lab-grown meat promises a genuinely sustainable option, significantly reducing reliance on traditional meat sources, which are costly and environmentally taxing. The technology involves cultivating real animal cells in controlled lab environments to create actual meat without raising and slaughtering animals. What's fascinating is how this process can produce meat with consistent nutritional profiles, free from antibiotics, hormones, and potential contaminants. This aligns perfectly with the growing consumer demand. A recent survey showed that 47% of Australian dog and cat owners are willing to change their pet's diet for ethical, health, and environmental reasons. Considering the Australian pet food market's value, which was about USD $2.83 billion as of 2024, with projections for continued growth, this is compelling. From a supply chain perspective, lab-grown meat could offer consistent quality and safety standards, which are sometimes hard to achieve with conventional farming, especially during times of drought or disease outbreaks. Now, the messy middle of this story came when I tried to pitch the idea to a local dog food company. Their reaction was priceless. It was like I had suggested they start a dog food farm on Mars. They were hesitant, understandably so. This was uncharted territory, and the costs involved in adopting this technology were steep. We're talking significant capital investments in new production facilities and specialized equipment, not to mention extensive research and questions about consumer acceptance beyond simple market research. Would Aussie dog owners who love natural, locally sourced products trust lab-grown meat? After all, while cultured quail was approved for human consumption in Australia, In 2025, commercial pet food applications are still finding their regulatory footing. The regulatory landscape adds another layer of complexity. Lab-grown meat needs entirely new frameworks for safety assessment and quality control. The ACCC would need to develop specific guidelines, and manufacturers would have to prove not just safety, but also nutritional equivalence to conventional meat sources. I spent weeks gathering data, collaborating with food scientists from Melbourne and Sydney, and talking to local pet owners through focus groups and surveys. The data showed potential long-term savings. Once production scales, lab-grown meat could even become more cost-effective than premium conventional meat. Environmentally, it's a no-brainer. The pet food industry's environmental footprint is significant, contributing to greenhouse gas emissions and land use. Lab-grown meat could reduce these impacts by up to 90%, according to some preliminary studies. However, convincing people this was the right step, especially in a market with a strong preference for natural and traditional ingredients, was another story. Many pet owners associated lab-grown with artificial or processed, even though it's actually more natural than many conventional pet food ingredients that undergo extensive processing. In the end, it wasn't a simple, immediate success. The company decided to run a small-scale trial, starting with a limited product line for environmentally conscious urban pet owners in Melbourne and Sydney. I learned a valuable lesson about balancing bold innovation with market readiness. Sometimes, the best innovations require the most careful groundwork, especially in a market as relationship-driven as pet food. The trial itself became a fascinating case study in consumer behavior. Pet owners who were initially skeptical became more accepting when they understood the environmental benefits and noticed their dogs thriving on the new food. The key was transparency, showing them the production process, explaining the science in accessible terms, and providing detailed nutritional comparisons with conventional options. This experience taught me that transparency and education are crucial in introducing truly novel products. Consumers need to understand the benefits and safety of lab-grown meat, not just be told about them. I found myself diving more into consumer education, crafting narratives that resonated with pet owners' values and addressed their concerns. We developed educational materials, including videos showing the production process and testimonials from veterinarians to make the science accessible. It's been a journey, one that reinforced the importance of patience and thoroughness in innovation. As we move forward, these learnings will undoubtedly shape the entire industry. It's an exciting time for pet food, and I can't wait to see where these innovations take us next. Thank you for joining me in today's exploration of the future of dog food in Australia. I hope you found it as intriguing as I did. Until next time, take care.